Hi. So, you guys are super astute, so I know you're going to notice and call me out that this is not the same night I filmed the other video. You're right, it's not. I got off of there saying, I don't feel so good, I'm going to take my meds. By the time that I did that, my husband came upstairs and was like, you don't look so hot. Let's go lay down. I was definitely having that pain in my side, so I'm glad that he said it, because I'd have kept going and that probably would have been a bad idea. But you can tell by the look of me, I've been doing something. I was at a church function all day, and unfortunately, SPF 30 will never be enough to quell all of this very pale European skin. So, if you guys have recommendations for better sunscreens that might save me from myself this summer, I am so thrilled to hear them. Please leave them in the comments below. If you're new here, hi, I'm Cozy. I don't normally look like this, but I do normally talk about sister wife related television shows here on YouTube. I'd like to remind you that these videos are for entertainment purposes only. These are not facts. They're just my opinions about public figures who share their lives on television. So if we're cool, we're cool, and let's hop in. We talked about the Davises and the Salehouden family last time, and that's fascinating to me. I really enjoyed getting a chance to hear from April's brother and to get to learn a little bit more. So this time we're going to finish up episode 9 with the Merrifield family and the Sherwood family. This is my co-host Graham. He is taking forever to get on the couch, and hopefully he will be a good boy and a quiet boy while we film today. Hi, sweetheart. So let's see what kind of mess we can get into with the Merrifields. And you're going to have to kind of convince me, guys. I feel like a little bit of Danielle was sort of petty when she went to Brazil. I think part of her kind of wanted to rub in the pregnancy a little bit. Not because she doesn't like Natalia, but maybe a little bit to jab at Garrick. Like, you can't forget me. I'm still here. And maybe it only feels that way because at the end of episode 8, she was like, I don't think I'm going to Brazil. And now here she's in Brazil. I don't know. She says she didn't honestly want to come, but she has a commitment to Garrick and Natalia, and so their family, here she is. She doesn't know where they stand, but she's here. And so we get a shot of her digging through her makeup bag and saying that before she sees Garrick, she doesn't want to look the way she looks. Honey, I know international travel sucks. You're a pretty lady, and frankly, your husband should be happy to see you either way. But we get shown very specifically her phone background. And it's odd because it's just a picture of Garrick. Maybe that's odd to me because they're in such a weird place and she doesn't know where she stands. Maybe it's odd to me because I don't just set my spouse alone as my phone background. Like, what are we setting as our phone background, folks? Mine is a full family picture of me, husband, and the 3 kids. It is one of my favorite pictures. We're all making silly faces. I would show it to you because it's so stinking cute, but we've kind of agreed that our kids are not old enough to consent to being on YouTube in that sort of format. So just trust me when I say it's cute. Okay. But Danielle tells the producers she's really nervous to see Garrick because she hasn't gotten a response to her pregnancy announcement. And she doesn't even know if he is excited, will be excited, any of those things. She's like, I feel like the other woman in Natalia and Garrick's relationship. Like, I'm inserting myself into this space where I don't belong. And that has to be such a weird feeling. Number one, she was first wife. She was the legal wife at one point. And now she feels like she's violating the bounds of this other relationship. And that's gotta be just a wild feeling to feel like just by existing in your own marriage, you're violating the boundaries of someone else's marriage. I couldn't imagine. That's a huge reason why I would never choose a plural lifestyle, but it makes it very confusing. I'd have to imagine for Danielle to be like, I don't know how to fit in here. And you'd think she'd have some idea since Roberta, but this is such a different relationship. I can understand why she's confused. So she's laying out her fears for us. Are they even going to be happy to see me? Are they going to be happy about this baby? How do they feel about this? Because yeah, she told Garrick, but he's never had a conversation with her. When she called him and said, hey, I'm pregnant, he said, I'll call you in a few days. If my husband were to be like, oh, I'll call you in a few days, if I told him that we were having a surprise baby, I'd be utterly devastated. She arrives at Natalia's house, and there are hugs, there are smiles. Natalia's super happy to see her. Garrick says he's emotional to see her because they've been together for 16 years, and he does love her. But most of what I'm getting, instead of just emotional, is awkward tension. Like, nobody in the room is quite sure how to react to each other, honestly. Danielle's like, we're going to have a baby, all of us. And it looks to me like Natalia kind of swallows hard in this moment But she does ask Danielle, how are you feeling? And Garrick's like, this is such a shock, Danielle being pregnant after 14 years. I don't even know how this happens. I'm going to recommend a 10th grade biology textbook, any type of medical text, or asking literally anyone who isn't me, Garrick, because I'm not going to explain it to you. But he was dead certain it was going to be Natalia who was pregnant because they were actively trying, and she thought maybe, and no. Unfortunately. I don't know. He says that all children are a blessing no matter the time or season, so he's happy. I'm not getting a ton of that from him. I'm mostly getting tension. Awkward tension. That's all I'm getting from him. But you know what? Maybe he's actually a lot happier than we're getting to see. This is a lot of manufactured drama for the show, so who knows? Natalia shows Danielle around, and she gives her this lovely guest room, and she's like, this is a space for you and Garrick. And then Garrick goes on to tell us that he and Natalia have been discussing the communication issues with Danielle. I can't imagine that discussing those kinds of things behind somebody's back would ever blow up in your face. Not with other TLC families who most certainly didn't have that problem ever. Sure. But then he goes on to explain, oh no, he wasn't meaning that his communication with Danielle was bad. No, it's all Natalia's fault because she gets jealous and insecure and she's just projecting that onto Danielle. Broski. He goes on and is like, I'm just the husband. They're the sisters. They have to work it out. You don't get to take that attitude that everybody else has to work it out to make your life easier. This man needs to take some accountability for his part in the relationship. He wants them to be sisters. And what he's not understanding is that sisters don't even always get along. Sometimes you need a parent or a spouse or a third party in general to mediate situations. And as the husband, that's supposed to be you. You are supposed to be able to step in and make sure that everyone is able to speak to each other calmly, clearly, concisely. But no. You want to sit here and warp the religious texts I believe in until they're not even those same texts, and then victimize yourself for your sanctioned adultery and tell us, no, they're making my life difficult. It's all on them to figure it out. Okay. I'm cool with that, I guess. So he goes on to tell us that it's been such a nightmare trying to get approval to get married, and Danielle flew all the way to Brazil. They still don't even know if they're allowed to get married. So they're going on an apartment tour, and Danielle's like, oh, these stairs wouldn't be good for a baby. Danielle, honey, you're not planning on raising your baby in Natalia's apartment, and I'm pretty sure any baby Natalia would have you were planning on raising in the United States, so I fail to see why it'd be a problem. But she asks how the trip's been, and Garrick's like, there's been a lot of food. I mean, to be fair, if I were traveling internationally, I would eat everything. I did not get this way because I don't eat food. I would eat everything. So Danielle's like, no one's been talking to me much since Garrick left for Brazil. Everything's super awkward. It shows. They all seem to struggle with just how to exist in the same space with each other. So she asks about the wedding things, and Natalia's like, it's good. I found a dress. I did this. And Garrick's like, it's been rough. They had 4 trips to the administrative offices, and someone who works there found out that they're a plural family. So they have to get an okay from the judge to even get married, and Natalia's like, it's entirely possible that we aren't going to get it. But Danielle's like, look, it'll work out when and how it's supposed to. But she's just like, look on your face. And Natalia's like, is this strange? But Danielle's like, no, it's how God works. And Garrick's like, you're still surprised. And then sort of has to explain why that would be. I'll explain it better for you. Essentially, it boils down to the way that God works is unfathomable to humans. Therefore, when he moves, it can be in ways that we don't expect or we don't see coming. Sometimes we ask for things in prayer, and the way that he makes it happen can actually be quite surprising, because we'll ask for something, anticipating that it's going to happen one way, and he moves an entirely different direction and still gives us the answer. And Danielle jumps in at this point and is like, baby, surprise. Okay, God. And Natalia's like, I'm not surprised. Like, I know how this works. So Danielle's really leaning into this, mentioning she's pregnant a lot. And I'm sure there's people who would say, oh, she's playing it up just to upset Garrick or Natalia. And I kind of felt that way in the beginning. But honestly, Garrick really hasn't reacted at all. And I think she just wants him to say something, anything. Just say something about this. And that makes complete sense. Natalia asks, what kind of birth control methods they were using. And it's not a surprise if you're not using any type of protection. And Danielle's like, we haven't for 14 years. And now, baby, it happens. My youngest sibling is almost 13 years younger than I am, and 7 years younger than the one before him. So what happens? If I had a baby now, it would be 11 years younger than our eldest child. Not that I think that's going to happen. Not that I think that's going to happen. I don't know yet. Kind of crossing my fingers it doesn't. I don't know. So Danielle's like, I'm not sure I made the right choice coming to Brazil. I'm just not, because I feel awkward. Everything feels awkward. And she's like, I feel like Natalia's trying to be happy that I came, but she seems angry. I'm not really getting that from this interaction. I am getting awkward tension, but I'm not getting direct anger currently. I think Natalia's sort of pointing out that a new baby isn't impossible. She's sort of being logical about it. And maybe that comes off as anger, but I think Danielle's really struggling with her situation with Garrick. And she's projecting a lot of feelings onto Natalia that maybe aren't there. Danielle thinks that Natalia assumes that Danielle got pregnant on purpose to save their marriage. That's never a good idea. And if she did, I can't say for sure. I'm not involved in that. It's still not the most healthy coping mechanism. Danielle's like, I'm here to support Garrick. I really don't care if Natalia's upset that I'm here. Not the best answer, but okay. I really get this projection from Danielle because I'm not getting as much passive aggressiveness from Natalia. Flippancy. Sure, I'm getting some flippancy. Sort of this refusal to play into this huge impossibility because biology exists. If anything, I'm getting awkward, strange vibes off of Garrick. I'm getting some discomfort off of Danielle and a little bit of, this happened from Natalia. Garrick has yet to say anything that we've seen, and it's obvious that Danielle is wanting some attention from him. And considering the situation, I'm not surprised. I'm not saying she's entirely wrong for wanting that attention. He should respond, say something, give her some level of attention and understanding for this. But there's so much going on between them. I don't know how they're going to get through it all. But suddenly we are just greeted with Garrick asking Natalia about questions from a phone call on a translator app, and clearly something's gone wrong. Garrick says he and Danielle were working out outside when Natalia gets a call, and she is utterly distraught. The judge has gotten back to them, and the answer is no. You are not getting married. You are not getting legally married in Brazil. Natalia's like, the judge understands that you live your life as though you are married to Danielle, so this is an impediment to us getting married. Called it. I've been saying for weeks that there was very little way that being on television, intending to do what they were doing, that this wasn't going to be the outcome. And Garrick's like, I'm devastated. He seems fine. He says that he doesn't think polygamy is illegal in Brazil, just bigamy. So I went to look it up. And technically he is correct that bigamy is illegal in Brazil, as in being legally married, 2 marriage licenses to 2 individuals at the same time. They do not recognize polygamous unions performed outside of the country, but they have no right to dissolve what is considered a legal marriage in another country between citizens that are not their own. They just don't recognize the polygamous relationships as valid. In other words, if performed in one of the 50 countries that allows polygamy, mostly Muslim or African nations, notable exceptions being the United Kingdom, where it must be performed in a country where it's legal and plural spouses may not be considered eligible for all social welfare programs, and Australia, where it is only allowed for religious reasons in respect for the Aboriginal culture. If the ceremony is performed in one of those nations, Brazil will only consider the first union valid, but it cannot force non-citizens to dissolve their marriage relationships. So it's a really long way to say, no, they don't recognize polygamy as valid or legal, but they don't have any standing over people who are not Brazilian citizens. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. I went and actually looked it up. I've gone through United States immigration. I've gone through Brazilian documents. I am trying my best to make this happen for you guys. So Garrick has this added issue that he has already applied for a fiancé visa for Roberta once. and being all over the internet, all over television, touting this great plan to foil immigration law, I cannot possibly imagine a scenario where Brazil wants to create an international incident or be implicated in an international incident when he goes, marries her, is still living with Danielle. This is a polygamous union that the United States has already determined is illegal and would constitute immigration fraud, as we looked up in one of my previous videos when we looked up the statutes regarding immigration and polygamy. And so this man is a walking foreign diplomatic incident waiting to happen, and I don't think Brazil wants to be implicated in it. My opinion entirely, but just based off of going through different documents, I feel that that's probably relatively close to the case. Garrick says he's sad, he's upset, he's angry, he thinks it gets in the way of people who just love each other and want to be together. Yes, but these laws are also designed to prevent exploitation and help keep people, especially women and young girls, safe from those who want to do them harm. This isn't about you, Garrick. This is actually about a worldwide issue that needs to be handled. Natalia says she's super sad that everything happened. She was excited to get married. I understand that. I understand that you as individuals have this desire. Garrick's like, everything's crazy, including the visa process. Yes, you've made this significantly more difficult on yourself by A, choosing to be on television, B, already having applied for a fiancé visa that fell through, and C, being on television. Once again, immigration laws exist for a reason. Garrick and Danielle decide they're going to take a walk. And Garrick's like, I don't know what to think about this wedding stuff because it's sad. And Natalia's super sad. Yes. He's like, you're having a weird trip. And Danielle's like, I can't imagine what your emotions are. Because these two don't seem to be able to communicate with each other very effectively. He's like, it's a roller coaster. Garrick says that when he left for Rio, things were super bad between the two of them. And the time away has left him able to think about his struggles and find a way to be a better husband to Danielle. And he finally says to Danielle, the happy news out of all of this is the baby. And Danielle's like, the wedding news is discouraging. And Garrick's like, now the only options is K-1 visa. They said that a lawyer had advised them that it could take 8 months to a year and a half for a K-1 visa to happen. And that it would have been much quicker for them to get married in Brazil than do that. So Garrick remembers the time, the money, the effort they spent on Roberta. And Danielle's like, with the state of our relationship, my relationship with Natalia, I feel some relief this isn't going forward right now. Plus, the state of my relationship with Garrick isn't great either. And there's a lot that's not at peace. So she's believing that this isn't the route that God wanted them to go. She tries to remind Garrick, hey, God does things in his own way, his own time. And Garrick's like, all this work and effort's for nothing. And now Natalia's just upset. So now he's worried about making the same mistakes that he made with Roberta. And he's like, too much time apart is going to ruin this relationship. It likely ruined that relationship. So I want to get Natalia to the States as quickly as possible. Okay, so you don't want her to have any room to think about this. You just want her here. Understood. So yeah, those two, they need to really work on the way that they communicate with one another. They need to talk to each other clearly, concisely. They are dancing around a lot of things where he'll say something to her and then she immediately deflects to whatever Garrick thinks, whatever Garrick wants. She doesn't want to talk about herself. She needs to learn to talk about herself. So the Sherwood family. Ashley and Shane have some super adorable dogs, and I really appreciate the B-roll footage of them because they're so cute. So they're having Sarah over, and Shane's letting Ashley know that I want you to take the lead in this visit. Ashley's like super excited to see her. She thinks that Sarah's got these excellent qualities. She's super intelligent. She's got great values. And she's worried, maybe that Shane and Sarah don't click the way she was hoping. But they greet each other with a hug, and it doesn't seem completely awkward. There's a little tension there, but it's not too bad. Shane's like, Ashley's super optimistic about Sarah, but I really want to make sure this is right. And she checks all my boxes. He is definitely still feeling a little bit like Sarah's the wrong choice. So he's going to interrogate her. That's okay. I don't think that's going to help Shane, but that's all right. You do you. And Ashley, definitely looks displeased on the couch. Like, oh, you're going to interrogate her. I'm not chill with this. It is obvious she feels like there's a good connection there. She's very excited about this, and Shane is not on board. And that's going to be a rough go. But Ashley shows off their fish collection and mentions they recently got a puffer fish. I love that. That's so cool for somebody else. I always worry about exotic fish in a home setting. I know they need a ton of care, and I don't think I could do it. I'm being honest. I don't know if I could take care of tropical fish that way. But Ashley explains that some people are probably thinking it's way too soon for them to ask for exclusivity because polygamy is a type of polyamory. And what most people come across is multiple partners who also have multiple partners. I am hesitant to call this arrangement polygamy because it certainly seems more like polyamory. But they're not looking for everybody to have multiple partners in this relationship, just Ashley. So Sarah asks, do the fish get jealous? And Shane's like, yeah, the way that one's reacting, that could be a sign of jealousy. Kind of setting up for, I feel jealous. Shane feels jealous. Sarah reminds us that their last date was pretty intense compared to the one-on-one with Ashley, and she is definitely nervous, but this is a dynamic that she has often considered exploring, so she's definitely open. Ashley starts the conversation asking how Sarah feels about the conversation that they had previously and questions that they had asked her on their last date. And Sarah's like, hey, I've been thinking about it a lot. I feel like we had a really good first date, and meeting Shane was cool. She's kind of beating around the bush just a little bit, but she's like, I expected more of a laid-back date, and it felt a lot more like an interview. And Shane's like, yeah, I've heard that before. So obviously Shane has been very intense for a lot of people, but Ashley's showering Sarah with tons of praise about her intelligence, her looks, how great her values are when it comes to raising her son. And I think that's great. I think that's fantastic, but you've been on 2 dates, so you don't know everything yet. And she's like, hey, I really want to give this relationship a try, but Sarah, what do you think about being exclusive with Ashley and setting aside these other casual relationships? And Sarah's like, I've never had anyone ask to be official quite this quickly, but I am promising you I'm not going to pursue other romantic interests. I would like to go on a few more dates and see how hot this spark is. But she's like, she tells us, I feel a little on the spot. I'm not 100% sure. But she says yes, because if you like someone, you go for it. You got to just jump in. Ashley and Shane are excited. They're sort of thrilled because Sarah's agreed to this exclusivity. The baby wakes and Sarah gets a chance to meet him, which is super cute. But all we see of that conversation it's just that conversation, just that little bit we saw. It almost feels like when the baby wakes up, Shane sort of shoos Sarah out in a way, but they walk her to the door and ask her, hey, let us know when you get home safely. It's an odd interaction. And then Shane's like, what just happened? And they both get awkward, and Ashley's like, I don't know, I wasn't expecting it. And Shane's like, you guys just kissed? To which Ashley looks like this teenager in puppy love. And Shane's like, Ashley's happy, this big smile on her face, and I love seeing the big smile. But he tries to say he isn't jealous. Spoiler alert, he is. And he's just not sure how to feel about it. He's like awkward, and tells Ashley, that was interesting. What? Shane does not want to be doing this. Whatever it is that they're doing, it's obvious that this particular dynamic is making him uncomfortable. I have seen a rumor online that their dynamic is actually different from what they're presenting on television, so that could be entirely it. Or something, I don't know. I don't follow a lot of the rumors super closely when it comes to this stuff because you never know what to believe. But if he's really doing this because he thinks he has the potential to pass from cancer, he might need a little bit of space to refocus because he does seem kind of miserable. But they go out to dinner, and Ashley's worried that her drink is not actually non-alcoholic, so they pass it around the table and just determine it has a lot of lime. They're out with Rachel, who we met when Shane wanted to dish about Grace that one time, the awful date. And they view Rachel as someone whose opinion they can completely trust. They value it. She doesn't sugarcoat things. If she thinks they're making a mistake, she's going to tell them, what are you doing? And she asks, so are you seeing someone new? And then Ashley jumps in, letting her know about Sarah and how the first date went. And she's like, Shane's going to burst if I don't tell you that I kissed her. And Rachel gives this quiet applause. But like, Shane's going to burst if you don't tell Rachel? It feels like he either really needs this validation from Rachel, like that this is okay, or he needs Rachel to tell Ashley, whoa, you need to pump the brakes and slow down, girlfriend. But Ashley's going on about how she's super excited about Sarah because she checks a lot of boxes for her as far as values, intelligence. And she keeps bringing up this values and intelligence. Obviously, these are two things that are super important to Ashley. And she really does feel like Sarah's a good fit for them. Shane's smiling like mad when she says this, but it comes off a little bit weird since he keeps saying she's not a fit. But Rachel wants to know how the mini golf date went, and Shane jumps in and he's like, it's so weird and awkward to see them flirting. I felt like the third wheel. I don't know what to do. And when asked about Sarah's dating history, pointedly says she's not been in a committed relationship. She just sort of flits around with these casual things. Ashley's like, casual encounters have been more of her MO, and we thought this would be an issue, but Sarah's agreed to be exclusive. She's agreed to commit. And suddenly, Shane's no longer a skeptic. Just out of the blue. Oh, she agreed, so I don't have to be skeptical of this. He goes back over the cancer diagnosis and points out that this is not a casual thing. This is supposed to be a forever thing. And I'm weirded out by finding your partner a new partner in case you pass. It comes off actually a little bit controlling, really. If something were to happen, I would not be out here trying to find my husband a new wife before. Especially since you guys know that I've been now officially told that I'm probably going to need brain surgery. I'm not going to be out there petitioning anybody to take over my role in this family just in case that goes badly. I can't control what he does if I'm not here. But Shane does tell us he did get the cancer screening finally. The results are not yet in. So Rachel's like, is the timing off on this? Like, you've got your things, Ashley's got her things, these babies. And Ashley's like, no, this is all real. His stuff, my stuff, these babies. If you aren't comfortable with it, let's find out now. And then Ashley says Shane's the only man that she's been with that fulfills what she needs from a man. But dating women feels right. And because she can have these more emotionally deep conversations that women understand on a different level. And I cannot imagine that's super great for Shane to hear. Oh, you give me what I need from a man, but you can't give me what I need. His face does kind of show that he might be a little bit upset with this. And he should be a little bit. Maybe I don't look at these things the same way because number one, I'm not interested in having multiple partners, and I'm also not interested in dating women. But I would be the first to say that fulfillment comes from within, not without. My husband is what I need from a partner, but I can't expect him to meet all of my needs at every given moment. I can have friends that I can go to for certain things. I can have family that I go to for certain things. But he fulfills what I need in a partner. Hence why I don't need extra ones. And so that might have been a better way to phrase that. But I guess if you're looking to have multiple partners, then your partner can't expect to fulfill all those needs. I don't know. It just seemed uncomfortable for Shane. So Ashley asks Rachel, are you seeing these things with the same optimism that we do? And she's like, I'm cautious. I was really hoping she was going to be like, no, y'all are nuts. But she's cautious because of Sarah's past of more casual relationships. She's worried that Sarah will be looking for someone else because Ashley's attention is going to be divided with a new baby. And Rachel's like, look, they have a strong marriage. I'm not sure I get that vibe from some of the things that they've said to us, but that's fine. If they do, they do. Shane says that until this relationship is solid, they're both going to have to worry about that, but they have to just jump in feet first. And Ashley feels like Rachel's given them their blessing, or her blessing, and now has cemented their plans to move forward. So everybody sort of seems like they're looking for affirmation in this episode. April seems to be want to be affirmed by her brother that she's doing the right thing, that they're making the right choices. The Salehutin family are looking for somebody to affirm that they're making the right choices by going and finding other polygamous couples who will tell them, no, this is the thing you're meant to be doing. The Merrifields are definitely looking for affirmation here. Danielle is wanting Garrick to affirm that this pregnancy really is a blessing. And I think Natalia needs some affirmation that even though things are going wrong, someone is still going to stand by her side. And then, of course, the Sherwoods are looking to Rachel to be like, yeah, no, this is a great idea. You should be doing this. That's the name of this one. The name of this one should have been Seeking Affirmation because that's all we got from this one. And I will tell you this. If you're looking for affirmation all of the time, you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it. In fact, one of the things we've been talking about at church lately is when you're looking for things or when you're coming to a place with a certain intent. And if your intention is to seek affirmation, you're not coming to things with a great heart. You should be coming to things more with humility and being willing to hear, no, that's great, or no, that's not so great. It'll actually get you a lot further in the long run because if you're coming to things with a little bit more humility and a little bit more understanding, what people tell you is actually going to help you rather than just sort of feel like yes men are surrounding you. And I feel like that's what we were looking for in this episode. We were looking for a lot of yes men, somebody to just say, yeah, every choice you're making is great. And we didn't get that from everybody. Billy certainly was not going to give that level of affirmation to his sister, and go Billy, because he didn't need to. But that's kind of where I have to leave things, because we'll have to jump in with episode 10 in our next video. I know this one is a lot longer than I thought it'd be for a part 2. I think I just had a lot of feelings about the Merrifield, so it's probably better I split this one up. And then we'll get into episode 10, episode 11, and then episode 12. Are you kidding me? I am so far behind, but I'm catching up. Since I'm feeling a little bit better, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be able to do a little bit more filming. And we're just going to kind of roll with the punches for right now. I'll let you guys know when I know anything more about surgery options. I don't know yet. I still haven't heard from the surgeon. I'm hoping to find the best one that I can possibly find. And we're just going to keep trucking from there. So I can't wait to hear from you guys. I will see you in the comments down below. Bye.